Hello, and here is the next installation of mannequin head conversion to planters, whatever we want to call it. We can call it whatever we want. So the last video I was doing, putting holes for drainage. And so we're going to continue with that for this one, the hard plastic. And then I'm going to, and yes, mother. I love my mother very, very much. And she is a woman of reason and good advice. And she admonished me after watching a couple of videos ago about the, I'll try to clean these off, about when I was getting crap all up in my eyes. Yeah, so she was like, please wear protective eyewear the next time that you work on this. And I was like, fine. Yes, mother, I'll do it. And of course, mom is right, 100% that I should be wearing protective eyewear. So I went and found my protective eyewear, and it makes everything very blurry. Well, not so bad. These are a little bit better than my old ones. So I got them. So the next one that I'm working on, as I said, is this. It is going to, you can tell she fell. She's got some scrapes and bumps. I'm going to do it a little differently. So if you see in the inside, this one looks a lot different from the others, right? So because she was put together in multiple pieces, as I had mentioned, there was a piece that was, as you can see when I illuminate the inside, see how there's a seam here? There's a seam in the neck. So she had a front piece, she had a back piece, and then the neck itself had two pieces as well, front and a back. So you put the front and the back of the head together, and then the base would snap around it, and it snapped everything in place. Let me tell you, it snapped everything in place. This sucker was not meant to ever come apart again, which is great. Nice design, beautiful design. It's a definitely one-way process. Snapping together and not unsnapping. So with her, or this little one, I'm going to do in the ears. Now, what do you think? You tell me. If you were to do this, would you do ears, back, and then chin? So look inside. With these notches coming down the sides, I don't think ear is needed. I think probably because the only planting area I actually have is going to be right across here. And like I mentioned, I'm going to paint up in here on the inside, maybe. That I think maybe because it's such a shallower thing, this is overkill. Perhaps I'll do one down here, middle, side, chin. That seems reasonable, right? Because the soil is only going to come up to here on the face anyway. So if I have underneath the chin, that's what I'm going to do. It's decided. Thank you for your advice. And if you said something different, I apologize. If I'm, actually, I don't apologize. I'm just going to ignore you because I can't actually hear you. Anyway. All right, here we go. I'm going to go in directly on. Whoa, lordy. It's walking. Oh, there it hit. And this drill, as I had mentioned before, is dying. So you can tell that it's not really in tight enough. But yeah, it's kind of losing it. Oh, well, that's fine. So what I hit was, see where the hole is? Yeah, you can see it, can't you? Right there. Yeah, you can see it now. That hole is right in the reinforcing. For some reason, they decided they needed reinforcing, sort of gills or something like that. So I'm going to leave that. That's fine. I've got the hole is under here. The soil will come down and through, and it'll be good. So the next one, that's pretty cool. Nice, sharp, relatively new. It's actually very, very old. This drill bit is probably almost 20 years old, but I used it for maybe 2 things. And plastic is nothing for it. So then I'm gonna go under here. I'm actually just gonna do 3 holes total. I'm gonna do base, base, and then I've got that one. So let's do this. Yeah, this drill is dying. All right, next one, I'm gonna eyeball it. My normal thing would be, I'm going to measure from at the top, I'm going to measure down, I'm going to measure from the base of the ear, and then I'm going to measure across, so that I know that they're in exactly the same position. Yeah, well. Oh, Lord. It's so violent. Eyeballing it works fine because you know what, this is for outside, and nobody's going to be sitting there going, oh my gosh, they're not exactly, they're 1.5 millimeters off. And the only person who's going to know that they're a little wonky is me and you, whomever you are. So if you ever see these in person, I don't want to hear it. Don't go up to the back and go, oh yeah, oh, why aren't they Shawneen? My sister's name is Shawneen. I could see her totally going, oh, and look at the holes are not even, Patrick. Why did you do that? just to goad me. Because I love her that way. And that's how our relationship works, because we give each other crap and we absolutely adore each other. So that one's done for those holes. Next up on this one, I'm gonna have to think about. So that one goes on the back burner. So let's go to this little one, and I probably should use a smaller drill bit, but why bother? So I'm going to do a cut, because this one, as I showed you, doesn't go all the way through. Oh, you know what I have to do on this? I wonder if I need to. What do you think? So this is hollow all the way down. Do I need to create a space where water can come out? My answer is yes. Otherwise, we're going to have a sort of a, I don't know, like a well of crappy, gross water, right? It's going to get all gooey and stuff. So it's got that was for the mounting bracket. Let's see if this screwdriver will do this. If not, I'll go and grab the other one. Wow. Okay. That just happened. Oh my God. What is this doing? Ah. Oh my God. All right, so that got rid of the fins. That's the word that I was looking for before, fins. That got rid of some of the fins, but it still hasn't gone through. Where did he go through? Oh, it's got this big old shaft down the middle. Can you see that? I don't think you can see it. Yeah, there it is. See that? Oh, goes across top to bottom. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get through. Oh, that's where it locked together underneath. All right, so I'm just gonna keep pushing. I'm going to plow through that. Oh, God, it's flying all over. All right, here we go. Going for it. Oh, there's a... whoa! My drill is falling apart on so many levels. Wow, that just totally... was exciting. Oh my gosh. So, who knew something like this could be so exciting? It's very satisfying when it goes through. It's like, oh, there it is. So, there we go. Let's get all that out of there. Yay. Alrighty. So, get that cleaned off so I'm not spreading it around anymore. Boom. Can you see light? Ah, I see light. Brilliant. I don't care if it's on one side or the other. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's a little rough. Oh. Doesn't matter if there's plastic and plastic coming out of the neck, falling all over. So there we go. That worked beautifully. I think in my next installment, if I'm doing any more drilling, I'm gonna have to use the other drill, the DeWalt. It's Larry's DeWalt, and hopefully that battery will still be working. All right, for this little one, so that one's done. So for this little one, I'm still gonna need drainage holes. As I mentioned, it doesn't go through. I could always unscrew it from the base, but I don't really want to. I kind of like her in her current form. She has this weird, weird mark on the front of her neck. It's like this scratch. Maybe it's just stuff. Oh, I think it was hair that got glued down when I was painting her. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do, you see a pattern forming here. I'm going to do one here, but I'm only going to do the one there, and then where should I do it on the front? I don't know. I don't want it to be too obvious. Maybe I'll wait until I have a smaller bit that we can, sort of as we're finishing this, that I can do it there. So I'm going to do the back of her head. I'm assuming she's hollow. I don't know. I can't tell. Put in the light. Can't tell. Great hair though, right? All right. I mean, I could give her a third eye, which would actually be pretty cool. But I would paint that on. I'm not going to put a hole in her forehead. That's just kind of takes the extra step. Ooh, you know what I can do? You know what I'll do? So I can just do 2 holes, one here and one here, up right in the, behind the ears. I think that'll work great. Can you see that? Let me push it back. So let's do this. Get it in there. Oh, she is made out of like a rubbery plastic. Soft plastic. That's bizarre. I thought she was going to be hard plastic, like the other one. She's definitely, all right, like a rubbery plastic. More similar to the skin on these guys than the real hard plastic of this. The things you discover. All right, going on the other side. Oh, yeah. Oop, and that did that. There we go. I created a flap at first. So going in, you go in to get it out, and you saw me just do it. Don't be afraid to rotate it. Put it in, rotate it around. What it's going to do is, you see those edges on the drill bit? It's going to bring those edges around, and it's going to shear it off a lot better. And she's fine the way she is, because it made a nice, pretty clean holes. I don't need to clean them up at all. She's got 2 holes in there. That'll be great drainage. I don't think she needs one in front. I think we'll be fine with that because her head is so small. Gives a little space, just a little room. And I have a feeling that this is, because she's able to be moved, that the water's just going to be able to come right out the bottom. I have no idea what that, there's a screw in the bottom. So maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Anywho, so now we're going to work on the crown of her head. We're going to just dive right in. Where are we going to do this? Let's get my Sharpie out and let's mark how we're going to do her head. Because like I mentioned before, there's sort of a circular thing going on the scalp. Yeah, see, there's a little line. I don't think you'd be able to see it, but there is a very small line. I don't need these on right now because I can't see through them. There we go. Yeah, I can see this fine line right along here. It goes, I'll show you from the side so you can see. Right here. And it looks like, I don't know what, it's something about the mold. And I don't know if it's a second piece, but it looks an awful lot like a piece was stuck back on. So I'm going to cut there. I'm going to, because it's hard to see, I'm actually going to mark it all the way around. This is a little bit further back from the hairline. See how far back it is. And then, so I'm marking that as I go around. I'm going to look and just mark small marks at a time. You don't need to be making the full circle or anything like that, because if you make the small marks, it's easier to follow where you're going. I say that, and then I have lost that line. Oh, it stops. So it's a crescent. Oh, well, that's kind of cool, actually. So this gives me different options. So let's look at this. So I'm going to mark this side. See, I'm going small mark, whoops, small mark, small, follow that line that is whatever it is from the ejection process or the molding. It was maybe where 2 molds came together that it creates that line where they don't meet absolutely perfectly, but they're like super, super close. Move the hair, draw the line, and it ends on this side in the same-ish place. No, this one continues. Oh, this is weird. This is freaky. All right, so I got more line there. And oh, it's continuing. I wonder why it ended on the other side. There we go. Maybe it fit better. Maybe I was right that it was. Oh yeah, I see line down here. Well, this wouldn't make any sense. Why would just this cap be a different like section of the mold that the plastic was done in? Anyway, my dad could probably tell you. He's the master of plastics injection and molding and all this other stuff. But anyway, so I don't have an answer, but it is, oh yeah, it's just really faint there. There we go. That seems like, you see that? Yeah, you can see that under there. That looks like a good area that way, since it's such a small head. There's not that much head here, so it'll allow enough room. I probably would have cut out too much if I hadn't found that little line. And this will be plenty for a plant to come through. So let's do this. Let's put on my glasses again. I'm gonna get out my grinder, my little grinder Dremel tool. And let's do this. All right, I've got 15 minutes left, or not 15 necessarily, maybe 10. And we'll get around this. Let's see how this does, all right? So I'm gonna dig right in. I'm gonna keep it medium speed, and let's go into the breach. All right. Oh! Well, that didn't work because I did not even think, oh Jesus. Oh no! It's a mess. Yeah, this is yikes. Okie doke. So we're gonna pivot and I'm gonna find my scissors. Oh, wait, I can just pull it out. Scissors. Okay, the beautiful hair is now like totally like on here. Holy moly. Okay, so when you do this and there's hair, do not do what I just did. Because what a mess. Oh my god. So this is, I'm gonna put this aside, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take the wrench and I'm gonna take this off. When I pop this off, the hair will come right off. Actually, I'll show you right now. So go to my handy dandy kit. There it is. Handy dandy kit. And yes, I do leave the cover on. Came with it, and I was like, oh, I don't need this, and I threw it away. And when I went to put stuff away, I realized if I ever tip this thing with the lid on, everything's going everywhere. So I grabbed it out of the trash. Thankfully, I was in the same day, and took this little puppy and put it right back on there. So now if it does tip to its side, everything is not all over the floor. So technically you should do this when it's unplugged, but I'm not going to go over and unplug it. I am going to do this while it's on. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Nice and clean. See? Beautifully clean. And this, hallelujah, freak not. Don't get too weirded out, but ha-ha-ha! Ha! It comes all off very easily. No big deal. Don't freak out. Nothing ruined. Ta-da! Just a lot of clumps of hair. Oh, she's got... Oh, she got a bald spot now. It pulled her right out. Oh, bald spot. And that's right, it's right on the front side. So that's a bummer. So I'm thinking if I want to use that tool, if I want to use this tool, I do have a way of using it. So that doesn't involve me catching all the hair. Oh, what am I doing? Screen this back on. Oh, come on. There it is. Lock that in. Catching all the hair, which would be, I will just cut the hair and then make sure the hair that is around that area is well restrained and away from the section that I'm cutting through. Now, since I know that this is actually a softer rubber, maybe this is a little overkill, even though it's really fun and very satisfying. Let's see if the pen knife will work on this instead. Is it a pen knife or a pin knife? In the Midwest, everything, if you ask for a pin, you got to say an ink pen, because the word pin and pin mean two different things, the words. One is spelled P-I-N and one is spelled P-E-N. And when I first moved to the Midwest, I was very confused, because on the East Coast, it's a pen or a pin. P-I-N is pin, and a pen is something you write with. But not in Kansas City. They're pronounced the same. So it's always like, they're spelled differently. Why are they pronounced the same? And it's just an accent thing. It's not a big deal. But of course, I'm a language person, so to me it was like, oh, wait, why? All right, I'm going to see if I can get this puppy in here without slicing the heck out of myself. Ooh, that's tough. That is tough. This is not like the other one. Not like the other one. All right, let's go to this. Yeah, so I think it's a pen knife. I think it's called a pen knife, but I'm not actually sure. And you are welcome to weigh in and let me know what your understanding is. And I will probably end up looking it up, because I'm kind of obsessive compulsive that way about words. Maybe not obsessive compulsive, I wouldn't go that far. But I am pretty obsessive about words. Say what you mean what you say. Use the correct word in the correct place. I do love words. I mean, I do have a degree in languages and literatures, so I mean, German, but it's still words. And I do write. I have a psych degree, so my master's in psych was all writing all the time, which was actually, I really enjoyed it. I was very overwhelmed and daunted by it. It was very daunting at first. Can you say that I'm daunted by it? I've never heard anybody say that before until I just said it now. But it is daunting, overwhelming, disconcerting, and kind of freaked me out that I was going to have to write that much. But once you get into the swing of it, when you're doing a degree like that as master's in psych, you kind of just sort of get into a flow. Anybody who's a writer will know what I'm talking about. Anybody who's not a writer probably knows too, if you had a lot of writing to do in college or in high school. So I'm taking the hairs out of the way, because I don't want to cut any of these front hairs. Get my comb. Any more than I already created a giant bald spot right above her face on the front. But I want to keep these away. I want to separate out the front ones from the back ones, so that as I'm cutting, I'm not going to have that disaster happen again. Oh, wow, yeah, see, I just lost so much hair. That's such a bummer. I was just saying, as you heard, I was just talking about how I like the hair on this thing. And I'm gonna leave it and keep it and somehow make it integrated. And it's really synthetic. It breaks like easily compared to regular hair. So you can't be too brutish with it. So as I separate this out, yeah, so doing that, doing my master's was like, at first I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna do all this writing so much writing, and still keep track of what I'm saying. So the more I did it, the easier it became. Oh my, this hair is all over the place now. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel while you're doing it. What an idea, right? You don't have to come up with all the solutions yourself. Somebody else has gone through this before. You can tell that sort of was a mantra of mine. So what you do is you look up different approaches, different methods, different methodologies, different techniques for how do you write. You let it be a formula. Freeform writing, letting it just flow out of you is great, just like art. But there are some things where when you do them and you have somebody who's gone through, many, many, many people who have gone through this and write all the time, and they're not sort of natural to, or they prefer to not be just out and then reorganize. Having the formats, having the approach and the different techniques for writing, doing an outline, try that out. See if you like if that like speaks to me. Outlines and I are super big friends. I love outlines and then fleshing it. Because then you can reorganize thoughts, and it's components. It's, for me, it's, you know, taking things apart, putting things back together. And so that works actually really well for my brain, but it may not work for you at all. But definitely explore. If you really want to write, but you're struggling at all, figure out a method that you like. Try it for a little bit, give it a little time so you can get into the groove of it. And then if it's still not working for you, move on to another one. Look it up. Say, methods for writing, approaches to writing, blah, 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 blah. Google is your friend. It's just, you don't need to, like I did at first, struggle and really feel like I was forcing it. Instead, find a system that works for you and use it. There's no wrong way to do it. I mean, plagiarism is wrong. Don't take somebody else's stuff as your own. I mean, that's just being a dick. But, I mean, come on, that's just being a jerk. So if you figure out your system, give it some time to really gel, or to not gel, instead of giving up on it right away. And then try not to force it. Try to let it be, okay, this is the way that I approach it that I like. This is the way that works for me. This is the way that doesn't work for me. You can often learn almost more about yourself by learning what doesn't work than what does. So give that your time and space. All right, and I'm gonna work on this later. My time is pretty much up on this one. I want to try to keep them all. Oh, wait, this may actually work. Never mind. I'm not giving up on you, Liat. Moving to the big gun. There it is. All right, so I made a hole with the pen knife, whatever it is. Went off on a giant tangent while doing this and trying to figure it out. And now, so these are what are called tin snips. And they are one of my go-tos when anything significant needs to be snipped. They're made for cutting through metal, basically tin, obviously, because they're called tin snips. But they work on myriad, there's another good word, right? A ton of other things that are options. Like, oh, I don't know, the plastic on a head that you're cutting a hole into. They are really good go-tos. Now, you don't want to use these and ruin them on cutting nails or something like that. Use something else. But these are really good just to have in your arsenal of heavy-duty equivalent to scissors. If you're going through a bunch of layers of stuff too, this is your go-to. These suckers, I've had them. They're Stanley. I've had them for probably 20 years. I got them early on for tools, and I use them. I always know where they are, let's put it that way, and use them in very random places. I've used them out putting in fence to snip down. I've used them, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you 90% of the stuff I've used these on that was not snipping tin. So here we go. I'm almost done, and I'm almost at time, which is great. So I keep going and trying to manage this. The only thing that has always made me nervous with these guys, come on. There we are. Lost track of where I was on the head. Because the hair, I did not cut any more hair. Only thing that you gotta be careful with is if you mess up, here we go. There it is. Get it. Get in there. If you are not really careful, you can take your finger off of them. Oh, I almost did. So, word to the wise, pay close attention while they're using them. And there we go. Hole in the head. And I wish I could use that hair somewhere else. I'm one of those people, when I throw stuff away, I go, oh, I wonder if I could use that somewhere else. Yeah, so just be careful with this, because this could easily get your finger And if you're not paying attention to your fingers back there, it's going to be too late. You're going to be halfway through your finger. I know it's gross, sorry, but you're going to be halfway through your finger before you realize that, oh my God, what am I doing to my finger? They're not especially sharp. They're just super hardened. The blades are fabulous. They don't go terribly wide. They have a great tip then. You see how nice that tip is? And when you squeeze these puppies, there's a lot of power going into those. So they also have a lock on them. When they made these, they made them right. And I've never had them sharpened. I don't need them sharp. They've got a little bit of, I don't think you can actually see the blade, the edge of the blade, but they've got just a little serration. So it's a little jagged on the blade edge. And so they get a grip. And I've used them on tin, and they've worked beautifully on tin, but they, like I said, they work on a ton of other stuff too. So I guess I'm gonna throw this away. I don't know what to use it for. I bet you some squirrel would love that for their nest. I don't know if that'd be healthy for them though. And then here we go. There's the hole in the head, and she, other than, well, maybe that forelock could cover up the giant bald spot that I just created, and we're good to go. So she's drilled and she is ready for planting. Actually, pretty much. Get the pieces of plastic out from her ear holes that she now, under ear holes. So that's it for today, and I will see you all soon. Happy 4th of July weekend. And I know I'll be putting this out a lot later than that, so I hope you had a nice 2022 4th of July weekend. And I hope that you are watching this in 2032 and enjoying it. And that's all. Have a great day. Bye.